About our hygiene growth program, what it's doing for dental practices. And the first and foremost goal for us is to change the way hygienists educate consumers. The consumer in your chair called the patient. Our hygiene growth program encompasses an entire commercial training program that teaches hygienists things that they were not taught in hygiene school. So our first goal is to start more treatment out of hygiene. That is the way you're going to grow your practice. And it's why our focus is how do you start more treatment? How do you put more value in the mind of the consumer so they purchase from you and get the treatment that's necessary? Now, we have very important stats that we have our hygienists track and your hygienist track. And they're commercialized stats that are not tracked in healthcare. And there's a lot of them. And they really paint an overall picture of what your hygiene room, what your hygiene department really looks like. The standard hygiene production and things like that, of course, we have that tracked as well. But we have stats that are commercialized because of our commercial expertise that really applies to every type of business that are not tracked in healthcare but should be. So we have very important stats that we have to track there. Again, we improve your hygienist efficiency, communication, education skills. Those three things right there are commercial, high-level commercial strategies not taught to anybody in the healthcare environment. So the hygienists every day need to be efficient. They need to communicate in a way a consumer understands and therefore values and then therefore convinces themselves they will buy. And also they need to educate in a way that drives consumer behavior. None of that stuff that I just talked about are trained in any hygiene school. So they're thrown into your dental practice and they have to do those things, but they don't understand how to do it. So they end up just doing it the way they've done it for 20 years or how their other hygienists that they're working with taught. But many, many times the way they speak is the complete opposite of what drives consumer behavior. It's another reason why our practices skyrocket their growth, because once those high-level commercial strategies are implemented into your staff, the hygiene numbers absolutely skyrocket and the treatment coming out of hygiene goes nuts. And it's something that a lot of times doctors didn't even know was possible to have that much treatment coming out of hygiene. Now, very specific photo protocols and training that we work on and how to speak to those photos, along with what we call our secret sauce to treatment acceptance. This is something that I personally speak around the country about. A lot of our team does as well. And it's something that basically reverses the language of how dental professionals speak to patients. It literally flips it on its head, and in the whole speaking engagement that happens with a consumer completely changes because we're talking about high-level commercial strategies that the best organizations in the world, both in and outside of healthcare, utilize to engage consumers, to purchase from them, to refer to them, and just overall see more value in what it is they do. Now, our ReCare training program, you've got to have your schedule filled up. We have very specific protocols that we work on with hygiene, telephone scripts for when you're calling to get patients back in, very specific scheduling protocols that kind of goes hand in hand with ReCare, and we do it very differently. You know, a lot of practices, either the front desk schedules or the hygienist schedules in the back, we actually flip that a little bit on its head and do something interesting that our doctors really love that they've never heard of before. And it works at a very high level, and it also ups the patient experience at the same time. So when you combine everything I just talked about, and there's other stuff obviously we work on as well, but when you combine that all together, it is the most powerful hygiene growth program in existence because we commercialize the hygienist into understanding that they must have the commercial skills necessary to do their job. When they do and implement it at a high level, the numbers skyrocket. I appreciate you listening today, and we'll talk to you soon.